Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I am just checking to make sure everything is actually live. There we go. That looks good. Okay. Looks like I am live and everything is relatively straight on my table. My phone hanger is not exactly the best, and so everything looks straight down when I'm looking at it, but when I look at it on the camera, everything's a little bit wonky. So anyway, I was going to do a different video today, Tuesday, but my paper pumpkin box came and I thought I would go ahead and unbox this one. The video I was thinking about doing today was with the notes and totes, and the assembly of the notes and totes. If I get a chance this week, I will do that video a little bit later this week. But since the paper pumpkin box came, I wanted to go ahead and open this one up. So this is the May paper pumpkin, which is called Mountain Majesties, and this one is very different from the last one. So if you remember, the April paper pumpkin was this really pretty what is it, alcohol wash colorway that we put together. I still have to finish working with that one. So this one is going in a very different direction. The Stampin' Spot color is Misty Moonlight, and the stamp set has a lot of phrases on it this time. So this is definitely a phrase heavy stamp set. It says, "I love you, best dad ever. You're the greatest. Happy Father's Day." So you can see there is a definite theme. This is going to be a much more masculine card set than the previous, well, at least the previous two card sets. Happy Birthday is also here. And then there's For a Wonderful Man and You Mean the World to Me. And then there's some birds here that are part of the stamp set. So again, the stamp set is very much a masculine theme. So we will take everything out of the box and set that aside, and we will open this up and take a look at what we have here. Now I know some people have already gotten this and they probably have seen this, but you can see that there are actually really pretty blue-green colors here, turquoise colors. You can see some trees. And so there's a couple of different cards here, definitely more on the side of outdoors, and very much more muted color palette than some of the previous ones that we've had. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at what we have. The thing I love about Paper Pumpkin is the variety. Other than the other piece, which for me is really good, is the fact that, cards are not my thing, but I always need cards. We had a wedding this weekend, and I used one of the Paper Pumpkin cards that I had made up where I hadn't put a sentiment on it yet, and I was able to adjust that card to put a sentiment for weddings. For the wedding, for the bride and the groom. And I think that's one of the really nice things about Paper Pumpkin, is that it does allow you to leave off sentiments. Like, you don't have to put anything on it. You can just stick it in your stash and then pull out a card when you're looking for that particular type of card. So that's an idea in case you hadn't thought of it that way. You can make up everything and leave the sentiment part blank and add that at a later date. Okay, so Mountain Majesties, again, this is the little card that comes in it that gives you all of the phrases that are part of the stamp set that you can stick into a binder like I do. And then you have the card pieces that are part of it. Again, there is what is this? an extra die set that you can buy if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. And so this is the die that goes with this particular kit. So they usually give you 3 dies essentially that coordinate with each of the individual kits. And then of course we've got the cards themselves, and hopefully this is not getting too much glare on it. So we have some tear tape here, and we've got our envelopes. Again, really fun wash colors on these. This has got to be one of my favorite colors. I love that color. We've got some vellum pieces here that probably go with these blue ones. So it's got the blue and the aqua color, and again the envelopes there. So we've got those. Let's just look at color coordinations. Basic black, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, and Petal Pink. Okay. All right. Great. Okay, so we've got some large dimensionals here. This is for our, I'm assuming this is going to be for our phrases. And then we've got our cards. So we've got this beautiful mountain landscape with the trees. We've got some more vellum pieces here. So we got a few, ooh, this is really thick vellum. Like it's really substantial. Like, can you see how that takes a little bit of effort to bend? So these are really, really thick vellum pieces that have these colors on them. So that's really nice. Again, we've got another set. So more of a mountain scene on this one. I'm guessing, I'm not exactly sure what goes with what yet, so we'll just take a look at that. Again, we've got some die cuts. These are not on vellum. This is just on thin cardstock. And then we've got the third set of bases here. And then we have, again, some more of the die cuts that are on cardstock. So, okay, so we've got a bunch of different pieces here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what goes with what and do some separation here. So we're just going to take the instructions. So card number 1, I'm just going to look and see. I like to separate things out to make it a little easier for me. So card number 1 is this card, and I'm actually going to get the box out. We're going to just make one card. So I'm going to just get the box out to put the extra pieces in so I don't lose track of them. So card 1 has this card, and it's got just trying to double check because I feel like I don't have all the pieces here. Okay, so we've got these pieces, and we've got these pieces. So it looks like we're taking this piece here. It looks like we've got the piece from the die cuts that are on cardstock. So we've got those 2 pieces here. And then it looks like we take from the vellum pieces the aqua one. Let's just make sure we got, I'm trying to be careful. It is thick. Like I said, these are really heavy pieces of vellum. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're really heavy pieces of vellum. Okay, so then we're going to take the green. So we're taking the aquas and the greens from the die cuts and the vellum pieces. So we've got that. Okay, so we've got card number 1. Card number 2 is the trees. So we'll take that one, and we are going to grab, that was, where those go? Right here. So it's going to take one, it looks like it's going to just take all of these pieces here. And does it get a vellum piece? I think it gets a vellum piece as well. This looks like this big blue vellum piece here, from what I can tell. So we're going to pull this piece off. like that. And I'm going to just put that aside for now. Okay, so that's that. All right, and then the last card is more of this desert looking one. And what we need for that is we need a blue vellum, so we got that blue vellum. We've got that's this piece here. So then we need this piece here, which is double, so it's the cardstock version, but it's got both the blue and the black on it. So we need that piece. And then we need the brown piece that's also got a light and a dark version on this one piece. And I think that takes care of all of those. Okay, yes. Okay, so I think we've got all the pieces out that we need. So card number 3 has the cardstock die cut, this cardstock die cut, and then the darker blue vellum that's shorter and smaller. The card number 2 has the die cuts that are the trees and the phrase, but it also has this vellum piece. So we're going to have lots of layers on these cards, from what I can tell, based off of the way that they're looking right now. And card number 1 has two pieces that are from the vellum, so the green and the aqua, the Lost Lagoon, and then 2 pieces from the cardstock die cuts. Okay, so now that we've done all that, got everything sorted, hopefully we've got it all organized in a way that we can use it. I'm going to set aside card 2 and card 3, and we're going to look at card 1. So card 1, again, the instructions are really simple with Paper Pumpkin, which is, again, another thing that I really like. It does give you what we're going to stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and pull my Misty Moonlight, my full stamp pad out, because I just find it a little bit easier to work with than the smaller ones. And we are going to have our phrase, and this is going to have Happy Father's Day on it. Again, you could change this if you want. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I don't know if I want to use Happy Father's Day on this one. Let's see. I love you. You're the greatest. Happy Father's Day. Best dad ever. You know, I might just go with Happy Birthday with this one. Not really feeling any of these phrases for this card. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave the sentiment off of this one, because this may be one where I decide that I'm going to pull a sentiment from the Greetings for All Mix and Match ephemera. These are black and white ephemera that have a whole bunch of sayings on them that I think there is an actual Happy Father's Day on here. There's one for Mother's Day that I did for my mom. I might pull this out and take a look at that for a sentiment, because I don't know, this card doesn't scream to me Happy Father's Day. So that's a personal preference. So I think what we'll do is we'll close this up so I don't get my fingers in the ink, and we'll assemble it with everything else except for the actual sentiment. So the other thing we need to stamp is the birds. So we actually do need the stamp set still. So we're going to grab this, and it's saying to stamp the big birds and the little birds. So we're going to pull these off and put them on our block. And again, I like to actually rough up my stamp to take the sheen off of it. I know it's not really necessary with Stampin' Up! Pads, but I do find if you are going to use the big pad, it's not as critical. But if you are going to be using the Stampin' Spot, it's a different type of pad. This is a felt pad. This is a foam pad. These two pads are different. The felt pad you need to make sure that your stamp has been seasoned, as they call it. And that's just rubbing it on your skin is the easiest way to do it. It will take the ink better when you are working with a felt pad, which is what the Stampin' Spots are. It is not as critical when you're using a foam pad, which is what the classic standard size stamp pad is. Hoping that that makes sense to everybody, and that you understand the difference. So again, I am going to use the foam pad, but I do still like to ink it up. These pads are super juicy. The ink sits at the top of the pad versus on the felt pad, the ink sinks into the pad more, so you have to use a little bit of stronger touch. These are just things that I've been learning as I have been working with the Stampin' Up! Products. So I'm barely touching this down to get the ink on this. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to stamp that like so. And then we're also supposed to do the little birds. So we'll grab another block. Again, these are just blocks that I keep on my desk. And we'll just lightly ink that up. And we'll add the birds here. Like so. Okay. And close this up again. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and add our dimensionals. So we have all of our dimensionals here. And it says to add the dimensionals to, it looks like the, sorry, just trying to orient myself to the different pieces here. Which pieces get dimensionals and which pieces don't. So I think this one gets a dimensional and this gets a dimensional, but the vellum pieces get the tear and tape. Actually, I think that's wrong. I think no, because this looks like this is a vellum piece. So because this is white on the back, this is going to be the cardstock die cut, and this is going to get dimensionals on it. It's vellum and it's showing through. So hopefully that makes sense now that I'm looking at it. So these two pieces get dimensionals, and then these two pieces get just the tear and tape. So I think I've got that worked out. Okay, so the dimensionals, and again, you may want to look at this and decide how much dimension you want on these. So I'm not sure yet. We'll take a look. How much dimension this is going to be. I may make the first card with all the dimensionals that they call out, and then the other cards I may choose to make smaller. So you'll notice that they have the dimensionals down here towards the bottom of the vellum piece. So I am going to mimic that. And then I have the tear and tape here. And if you have a tape, a tape runner, you can certainly use the tape runner as well. So that's just going to come down here at the bottom. Sorry if you're hearing my dogs. I don't know who's at the door, but somebody's at the door. Okay, and so we're going to do the tear and tape for both of these, and we're going to put this at the very bottom of the vellum piece. I made that one a little bit long, so we'll tear that and we'll add it over here. Okay, all right, so now that we've got that done, this is a layering effect. So you're going to put A down first, then B, then C, then D. So A is going to be, just trying to make sure I've got this right. A is the vellum piece because of the angle. So A is going to be the first piece. So we're just going to fold this in half. Again, you can double the cards by taking this and slicing it in half. And then you can use this side for another card, which I do tend to do once I go off camera. Because I like to create as many cards as I can, and usually these are really nice bases to work with. So we're going to take this and we're going to put this down at the bottom of this card. I'm going to just turn it on its side so I can, actually I think I'm going to turn it upside down so I can see it better. Again, there's nothing that says that you can't rotate things so that it's easier for you to work with. Okay, so then we've got A. Next is B, which is going to be this one, which is going to, again, be at the bottom. This doesn't have any dimensionals on it, so it's not going to add any more height at this point, but we do have one more piece that is going to add height. So we're going to add that there. Then C is this vellum piece here. So again, the vellum piece, I'm just working upside down. Hopefully that's not confusing to too many people. When you're working with vellum, you do want to hide your adhesive, though I have to say that the tear and tape really isn't showing through because this vellum is really quite thick, which is nice. And we're just lining everything at the bottom of the card, lining everything up. And this piece, you may choose to not put dimension on. So let me kind of show you. If I do it like this, you can see that there's going to be quite a bit, let me just see if this is showing. There's going to be quite a bit of dimension when you add this other piece with the dots. And I'm just looking over here to see if you can kind of see this. So it is going to be standing up quite a bit. Maybe from the side, that's a little bit easier to see. So it may be that you don't want to put this last layer on foam tape or on dimensionals because it may cost more to go through the post if you are mailing these. So do this. I am a little crooked, I can tell on this. So, and the reason I can tell is I can see that I have a little bit here at the edge where it's a little bit long, but I think it's looking okay. I think it's okay. All right, so the last piece would be that sentiment that would go right here, and that I'm going to leave off for now because I'm not sure that I want to use that sentiment on this particular card. Okay, card 1, done. Once you, this one's kind of a nice little easy one. Once you get all the pieces organized, it's not too bad. Okay, card number 2. Card number 2, we've got the vellum piece. We've got the individuals. Thank you for being the person you are. I actually really like that sentiment. So we're going to just pop that out. We're going to pop the trees out. All right. Just trying to be careful not to tear them here because they're pretty intricate. Okay, pop that out, and then we'll pop this guy out as well. Okay, so there we go. We've got those pieces. And fold this one in half. Now this one, I'm actually wondering if we should change. So I'm going to take a look at this. So I was thinking about making this a Z-fold card. And a Z-fold would be taking this and creating a fold. But I'm not sure how I would handle these other pieces. Like I could just do that and just add this on top and not worry about the other pieces and make a Z-fold. Or I could cut these down instead and make that. Because this is actually just a mirror of what's already here on the bottom. You're just creating more layers with this. There's really no additional part there. So I'm just wondering, maybe we try that. Oh, let's go for it. Worst is going to happen is I don't like it and I'll have to redo it. So I got my trimmer out. So this card, this measurement here is 4 1/4. So I want to do this at, I want to score this at, I'm going to score this at 2 1/8, because I want half of 4 1/4. Let's just double check that we're 4 1/4. Yeah, we're 4 1/4, so I want 2 1/8. So I'm going to flip this the other direction, and I'm going to go in at 2 1/8, and I'm going to use the scoring blade. Now the scoring blade is the light color blade here. So I'm going to just make sure that I'm lined up here. And we're going to do this. And what that does is that puts another score line in this card. And so what this allows me to do is to create a fold. And then I could actually put this on the inside like that. That might work. Trying to decide what's the best way to make this card. Okay, so this needs a little bit trimmed off because it's a little too big. Okay, this isn't working the way I thought it would work. See, this is where being a scrapbooker and a card maker, I'm not good at both things. I'm only good at one thing. So, and I'm sure someone's out there screaming at me right now going, this is how you do it. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. It sounded like such a good idea in my head when I looked at it that a Z-fold would work, but I don't make Z-fold cards very often, and this is not working out the way I wanted it to. So we're going to get another base. We're going to build this just like the design. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to figure out how to best make that idea come to life, but not try and do that on the fly here. So I just got another base. We're going to just work with this. Okay, so we're going to, again, this has a lot of dimension on it. I am actually still not going to use this piece because I think it's redundant. I can use this for something else. Like I can put this on another card. I don't need to mimic this back. So I am going to not use this piece. The reason they did that is they wanted to make it more dimensional, and I think that it's going to make the card too thick. So I'm going to leave, well, I know why they did it. It's because you're putting the vellum down here, and then this goes on top of the vellum. Yeah, I guess you kind of do need it if you do it like that. If you keep the vellum piece, then you need this because otherwise you can't see through the trees. Let's just see if I like this like that versus like this. I'm just trying out different things. I actually don't. So this, let's just do some dry fitting here since I'm already making a mess of this. This is going to go like this, and this is supposed to go here. I think, since this is already going to be covered up by that anyway, I'm going to save that piece. Okay, I made the decision. I'm going to save that piece. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this piece, I'm not seeing the, I don't want to see the dimensionals. So the way they have the dimensionals laid out, I am not going to do. I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to put dimensionals where it's going to be hidden by the tree so that it doesn't show through, because these will show through the vellum. So I'm going to just add them where I've got the tree, and then that way it should be good enough not having something at the end here, but you can see that you're going to see them through the vellum. So that's why I'm going to do that. Again, the tree is also supposed to be popped up. So we will do that in just a second here. But we'll lay this down, even with the edge, hopefully. that. Okay, and then we can add dimensionals to the tree. Probably more than we needed, but there we go. And then we have the sentiment that we're going to put on. And the nice thing is that you do have those inside sentiments that you can use for this card as well. So you want to stamp on the inside one of those phrases. Okay, so this then is going to have some tear and tape. It looks like we have to do some stamping too. So let's put this on, and then we will do the stamping. Kind of did it in the wrong order, but that's okay. Okay, so we're going to try and center this, like so. And I might actually pop that up. Even though it doesn't say to, I think I am going to pop that up. I am going to stamp before I put this down though. Just to not create too many barriers for me doing that. So it's the small bird stamp that is for this. So then again, lightly touching, making sure my birds are flying the right direction. And we'll put those guys up there like that. Okay. All right. So that's card number 2. Again, you can see the dimension that are on these. So if you don't like dimension, you very well may just want to leave those pieces of dimensionals off, because that is, you know, there is dimension there. And I know some people don't always like dimension on their cards. All right, so card number 3, we're not going to try and do anything fancy, I don't think, this time. Didn't do a good job on the last one being fancy, so we'll stick with the instructions, closer to the instructions, and go from there. Okay, so if anyone knows how to do Z-fold cards and wants to make a comment on what I did wrong, happy to take that. Happy to take that training. Okay, so this one, it's "You Are the World to Me." You know, that's kind of a cool thing. I think that would work, because that can go for lots of different things versus just Father's Day. So you mean the world to me. We're going to grab that sentiment. We'll go ahead and grab that off of our sticker. And that's going direct on the card. So we're doing direct stamping. Again, I'm going to season this up. I know that works best for me. And again, lightly tapping. You don't need to put much pressure, especially if you have a newer pad, because that ink is just sitting right there on top. So all I'm doing is I'm looking just to make sure I have coverage. And that looks good. And it's going to go right on the moon or the sun, whichever way you want to look at this. Okay. There we go. And then let's put, we've got dimensionals on all 3 of these pieces. I am reluctant to do that because I think that's going to be way too thick. So I think I'm going to do dimensionals on the 2 card stock and not on the vellum. I think I'm going to just do a tear and tape on that, so that I don't, because that would be 3 levels of dimensionals if I did all 3 of these. And I think that's way, way too thick, especially if I'm going to mail it. And I don't tend to hand deliver cards. And so I think I want to make sure that I can get it in the envelope and I don't have to pay extra postage or ask for hand canceling. So I'm going to just use the tear and tape on this one. Make that a little bit short. There we go. Okay. Okay, so the first piece that goes down is the brown piece. So very different feel, like I said, than the other pieces. Again, you could just leave this as is. If you'll notice that there are all of these textures and all of these layers are replicas of what we're putting down. This is a replica of this piece. The vellum is to replicate this one. And then the next cardstock piece is to replicate that. So you really could just use these cards as is and make different cards with these punch outs, die cuts that are given. And you can actually extend the kit even further by doing that, by adding these to a different card background or creating your own card background and using these on that. So that's an idea, especially if you have any of those kinds of masculine stamps or woodsy stamps, anything that outdoorsy, that would certainly work for these, which is something I might go ahead and do, because I don't know that, I mean, I know that people like to receive cards, and dimensional cards are fun, again, but that's still, if you had put that third level of dimensionals, that was going to make that one pretty darn thick. I'm not sure that people would appreciate it as much as the dimension. For those of us who do these kinds of things, we tend to appreciate the work a little bit better than, say, some of the people like my husband who looks at it and goes, "Oh yeah, nice," and then doesn't really understand the work that went into some of them. So I think I might actually take these pieces and make different cards with them and just use the bases that are already pre-printed. I don't know that you need to put all this dimension on. All right, so we have finished these cards. These were pretty simple to put together, like I said. So let's bring them back in just to look at them one more time. Grab these. So this was card number 1, where I didn't put the sentiment on it. So I can, like I said, I can pull out something like this, Greetings for All, the mix and match, and I can look through this and I can say, what do I want to add to it? I could add a thank you to it. There's white versions of the sentiments and black versions, and I think either one would work here. So I can look through these and I can decide which one might be best fitting. Like, this might be a good get well soon card. I actually have a girlfriend who is in the hospital, and this, I think I might actually put get well soon on this one, because I think that works for that one. So anyway, this is another idea of sentiments, and I'm sure that all of you have stamps in your stamps collection that have a lot of sentiments on them that you could use for this card if Happy Father's Day didn't fit you. This one I would do Happy Father's Day for my husband because he's an outdoors person, and so I think he would appreciate this one with a Happy Father's Day on it. All right, that is it. That is the May Paper Pumpkin, and I will post these cards and take a look, and if I make any alternatives or do something different with that Z-fold card, I will post that as well. All right, everyone, have a great evening, enjoy, and I will see you on my next video.